I wanted to do a bit of a story time. So, I don't know, do I want my hair up? I feel like I always have it down. I don't know. By the way, y'all, if y'all been staying up to date with my videos, y'all see that I did my own twist, a DIY. And it only cost me, what, $13? Yeah, for the hair and a little bit of my time. But I really like it. I really like it. It stopped itching. I think it was the braids though. The what's the word I'm trying to use? The coating, the alkaline irritant, like a known irritant for our skin and our scalp. I believe that was the reason, because right after I shampooed and I conditioned my hair, it stopped itching. It stopped itching. But actually, no. Before I did that, I soaked it in apple cider vinegar. That is what killed and removed a lot of the coating that they put on the ☏ hair to make it shine and stuff. That is where they coat it with the preservative, the alkaline. And I didn't soak the hair in it. That's actually what I would have done had I not found out about this whole coating of hairs and stuff. I never knew that before until I did research. So anyway, once I did that, and I sprayed it with my hairspray, and it's, you know, it's been good ever since. So I know that's the trick. So before I put any type of braids in or twists, any type of hair that's like this, I'm going to make sure that I soak the hair in apple cider vinegar and dilute it with some water, of course. And I'm going to let it soak for maybe like a good hour and rinse it off with some water, let it dry, and then I'll put my hair in, because I'm seeing that that is what irritated my scalp. So y'all, if y'all never knew that, now you know, and maybe y'all could do that too if y'all are experiencing, like, you know, itchy scalps and irritation or even bumps and stuff. But I just wanted to talk to y'all about outgrowing friendships. And for those of y'all who are watching and have went through situations where you've either outgrown a friendship or something just ended terribly bad with your friendship, this is for y'all. This is for y'all. And you know what? It's not even just about friendship. It's outgrowing relationships, period. But I'm gearing this more towards friendship. I've been through it. And that's why I'm here to share with y'all what I've been through, so that hopefully somebody who's watching it can help you too, to take heed to the reality of the world, which is that people change, and it's either, you know, you're going to compromise who you are to be like that person in order to be in their circle, or you choose to be who you are, and then that might have to mean that you have to separate. Whichever way you want to, you know, look at it, but I hope that this serves as, you know, something good to y'all. Friends, how can I put this? The friends that I've had, first of all, I don't use the word friend lightly. I'm not the type of girl to call everybody my friend. At one point in time, I caught myself saying that, but I had to stop myself because I looked at it for what it was, and I'm like, Cieara, are these guys really your friends, or are they just acquaintances? And I think people get so afraid of calling people what they are. Like, this is my acquaintance, or this is my colleague. Like, you don't have to say everybody is your friend just because you don't want them to, I guess, feel bad or something. No. Some people might not feel bad, you know, especially if that's how they see the situation between you two as well. Not everybody is a friend, and that's okay. And another thing is, everybody really isn't going to stay friends forever. You're going to have relationships that is on a time limit. I mean, granted, we're all on time limits, just us living. We have a time to live and we have a time to die. But the same thing goes with any relationship that we're in. And friendships, you're going to have some friendships that's like that branch. In the words of Tyler Perry, not even the branch, he said roots. You're going to have friendships that are like those roots. You know, and it's very far and few in between that you find those. But then you're going to have some friendships that are like branches. And you're going to have some friendships that are like leaves. You know what I'm saying? You just got to kind of figure out which one of those friendships they are. So to go back to me, I want to say that I probably had a total of four friends. Yeah, 4 friends in my life. Yeah, that I would like... No, I would say no. I would say I've had about a total of 3 friends, like friends in my life. Yeah, I would say about 3 friends. You know, the rest were just people who I, you know, grew up with and, you know, shared experiences with, but it never really blossomed into anything. I wanted to tell y'all a little bit of story time of when I had a best friend, and we met in middle school. We met in middle school. If I could remember, I think it was 6th grade. It was either 6th grade or 7th grade we met. But needless to say, we met in middle school, and we were so alike. Me and her were super goofy. I mean, goofy. Me and her were super goofy. We were both weird. I believe I was weirder. I was just extra weird. And I'm still weird to this day. And I love it. I love being different. I love being unique. But yeah, needless to say, we were goofy. We were weird. We attended, what was it? We had some type of 8th grade prom graduation thingy before we went off to high school, because middle school here is 6th through the 8th grade. But anyways, we were thick as thieves. Wherever you saw her, you saw me. Wherever you saw me, you saw her. And most of the time we would always be laughing or laughing at somebody. So needless to say, I really had a good time. And just talking about this, just a quick little side note, it makes me think about my childhood. And I would say to y'all, I've had an amazing childhood. My childhood wasn't perfect, but in a sense, I believe that's what makes it good, because I went through life. I learned a lot of things about myself. I really did. Even looking back on it, I'm like, oh my God, like I really learned a lot about myself. And looking back as a 30-year-old woman, yes, I'm 30, and I cannot even believe that, guys. That's a story for another day, how time flies. And my grandmother never lies. She said, time waits for no man, and before you know it, before you even look up, you are 40 or 50 or 60 years old. And back then I was like, I understand it, but did I really understand it? I was like, okay, now I understand it. So Nana, you're right. But I guess just looking back at it, I mean, I had a really great childhood. I'm not one of those stories where I grew up in the hood. I grew up not having everything, no shoes on my feet, no clothes on my back, you know, no food to eat. You know, that's not my story. And I'm blessed to say that. It's not a flex, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend like, you know, like that was my life. It wasn't. I was born in Miami, Florida, born in Miami, and partially raised in Miami, because my grandparents, they lived in Opa-locka. For those of y'all who are familiar with Miami, you know exactly where Opa-locka is. And, you know, me and my sisters would stay there, but then we will also stay with our parents. I think it was just something where they were trying to get a house. I believe that was the case. So we would stay there with them, and then they would, you know, be out, I guess, trying to work and everything and get their house. So we'll spend some time between my grandparents' house in Opa-locka, and then, if I'm not mistaken, and this is a blur because again, I was a child and I never really asked my mom all of these things verbatim, but anyway, we were in the Miami area for sure. Year 2000, I was like, what, 6 or 7, and that's when we moved out to Broward. And that's where majority of my childhood, I would say, was. Yeah, because from that point in time, we were just Broward all the way. We never really moved back until I was 17. We moved to Carroll City. And then we moved back to Broward. But yeah, so needless to say, I mean, I had an amazing childhood, me and my sisters. What can I say? You know, 2-parent household. I believe that we went through what typical people go through, especially pre-teenagers and then teenagers. So just to speed up things a little bit, with my best friend at the time, we went through middle school together, and then that's when we went into high school. Yeah, so back to my story. I don't know where I left off at. I think I was at me having a good childhood. Yes, so there you have it. I had a really good childhood, and I'm very grateful for the childhood that I had, the ups, the downs, the lessons learned, everything. It made me who I am today. So fast forward into exiting out of middle school with my then ex BFF, best friend, and we went on into high school, 9th grade. Still super dope. We were, again, thick as thieves. Everybody pretty much knew us for being best friends with the other. They even It even got so bad that people were asking us, are we sisters? They were literally asking us, are we sisters? Are y'all sisters? You know, like, dang, y'all sure you're not sisters? Because I guess when y'all are together for so long, you start to look alike. Y'all ever heard of that before? I have. And that's how they thought about us. Now, she had her own sisters too. I have my own sisters. She has her own sisters. And I actually knew her sisters because we would go to each other's, like, did they ever go to my house? I feel like they have. One or both of them. But, excuse me, it was mainly me going over their house. We did not live far away as well too. So I met their mom. I met their dad. It was like a culture shock because I'm American. I have Bahamian descent on my dad's side, but I'm American. I'm like Americanized, and she's Haitian and Dominican, but they have more Haitian influence in their household for sure. So I just remember, like, I would I would like, I feel like it was both of us. Like, we would like kind of like laugh at her dad because her dad he was very strict, you know, typical Caribbean household, strict, extra strict. The mom, from what I remember, she was cool, very cool. I don't even think that I saw her that much around the house, but the dad, like, I would see the dad was like mean, strict. He would be stalking her. This is not a lie, guys. I'm not making this stuff up. It's like he would like follow her, or like, I think at one point, if I remember, she said he was hiding in the bushes. Like, he was really crazy. Yeah, that's what I remember. Those are things that I vividly remember. It was funny. It was funny to me. I mean, of course, like, I guess if you look back at it, it's like a grown person was really doing that to make sure that their kids wasn't like messing up. Listen, kids gonna be kids. And at the end of the story, if you're not gonna learn anything else, you'll learn that being strict does absolutely nothing for your child. Don't be too strict. You can still give your child rules and regulations, and let them know the terms and conditions of living under your roof. Yes, yes, yes. Do all of that. But you'll see at the end of this whole story time that you can't stop your kids from doing what they want to do. And in fact, you actually steer them further away from you, and then they rebel. And that's what ends up happening. And I would say that's the case with this situation. Your kids can rebel on you even if you're lax, you know what I'm saying? But they rebel at a much higher rate, if you ask me, when you are extra, extra strict. They surely do. And that's what happened. But anyway, so I had a close relationship with her sisters as well. Like, so all of us was like this. But obviously me and my ex-best friend, we were really like the closest. We went to school together and all that stuff. So just to fast forward things a little bit, because I have a tendency to kind of like over explain things because I want y'all to really get the full picture. So boom, we're in high school. High school is 9th grade through 12th grade. 9th grade, super good. It's been the same since middle school. Me and her are, you know, very much like intertwined with one another, laughing, joking, also trying to figure out, you know, who we are. I would say, you know, in 9th grade, you're about, what? Are you about 15 or 16? Yeah, 15 or 16. I would say around that age. You may have somebody who's even 17 if they got held back, but that wasn't our case. She got held back, I believe, or started school late, one of the two, because her birthday is late. But anyway, I say all that to say 9th grade was really good. 10th grade was really good. It was the same. I would say, if I can remember correctly, 11th grade was when everything really started to change. 11th grade, we are either 16 or 17. Now, just to give y'all a little bit of insight of how I was and she was up until like the 11th grade, right? Because 11th grade was when everything just went downhill. The middle school up until about 11th grade, 11th grade was the peak for our friendship. We would go to this famous spot here in South Florida. I don't think that they exist anymore. It's called Iguanas, Cafe Iguanas. And we would go there, And was it iguanas? I think it was iguanas. Guys, my memory, like, I don't know, like my memory is good, but then with certain things, like I guess the small details, like I don't really remember. I think it's iguanas. I really think that it was cafe iguanas. I think it was cafe iguanas. Correct me if I'm wrong. For those of y'all who are watching this and y'all were there, actually was there during the time that I'm talking about, let me know. But yeah, we would go to the club, underage, but you know, we would go to the club, you know, we do the little teenage stuff. So we went to the clubs, you know, together, you know, we would do, you know, dance, you know, crush on guys, like, you know, oh my God, I like him, and stuff like that, because that was me. Mind you, up until 11th grade, I didn't have a boyfriend. That's just me. I've never had a boyfriend. So I already felt like a square with a lot of things. I felt like I was like a late bloomer in that sense because I was extra shy. I was shy, and I still kind of am, but I was extra shy then, and until I, you know, drank or something like that. So before that, it was just us crushing on guys, like, oh, he's cute, or we'll go to Cafe Iguanas. That was the spot for all of us to go to. So we'll go there, we would drink and have ourselves a good time, you know. So that was me. That was my whole rebellious stage. That was me. But I had boundaries too. I had things that I would do, and I had things that I wouldn't do. Case in point, there was some girls who will take it too far with a guy, or they'll, you know, be with this guy, be with that guy. That wasn't my ex BFF, not that I know of, but I'm saying of other girls around our high school and even in middle school. I was never that type. None of that was going on. My rebellious stage was just going out to the clubs and drinking, you know, and having a good time. But I had boundaries. There were certain things I wouldn't do. I would not go with guys that I felt was too much older than me. I wouldn't go with guys that would like be into smoking weed and stuff like that. I mean, those type of things made me very uncomfortable back then. They really did. It made me super uncomfortable. So if ever there was the girls that wanted to, oh, let's go with this guy, oh, he going to this place, and that dude just looked at shady, or he just looked at too grown, or you know, weed and all that stuff, that was a huge turn off for me, and I felt uncomfortable. I'm like, this is giving ghetto, and you know, I'm not really with that. For me, my safe space was just it being me and my BFF. That's it. And let's just call my BFF, let's call her Susie. She's far from a Susie, but I'm just saying Susie. Yeah, so it was just me and Susie. You know, that was my safe space, just me, Susie, and then we could just tackle the world. We can go here, we can go there, it didn't matter. So around 11th grade, I noticed a shift in our relationship when it came to our interests. I noticed because there were some girls in our high school, I don't remember what grade they were in, but if I could recall, I think they were in a grade higher than us. And needless to say, for me, those girls, you had girls like me who was rebellious, but you had girls like them who were like extra rebellious. You know, they were the type of girls that wanted to be too grown. They wanted to be too grown. They wanted to be in the mix. They wanted to be going here and there. You know, they were into the ganja and stuff like that. And I you know, me, I don't want to say empath because I'm not too sure what that definition means in its entirety. If it means like you feel at a stronger sense, then I guess in a way, but I'm gonna just say my energy. Like I can kind of read people's energy. You know, I look at how they react and communicate with other people, and I see if that's like me. It wasn't like me, so I stayed away. However, I noticed that my BFF Susie, she started to hang out with them. And I don't know how they met, but she just started to hang out with them. And I think that one of them was known for like fighting people around the school. So it was like they were popular. They were the popular girls. Let me say that because they were like the popular chicks. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were saying that they were some kin to the Marleys. If I can remember, I may be wrong, but you know, when you're in high school, you just name drop and It takes absolutely nothing to be popular. You need no criterias. All you got to do is be the loudest person in the room or be affiliated with somebody and boom, you're popular. That wasn't me. I wasn't the popular girl. I wasn't unknown, but I wasn't popular neither. I was like somewhere in between. Yeah, so she started to want to hang out with them. If I'm not mistaken, I think they lived close to her or they took the same bus. I don't remember all those small details. All I know is I noticed that she wanted to start hanging out with them more. And I'm not gonna lie, listen, it's been me and her up until this point. Me, her, like, was like thick as thieves. So for me noticing that she wanted to start hanging out with a different crowd, and a crowd that I thought were much more faster than us. You know what I'm saying? Like, these chicks was like, they were like ahead of their time. And for me, I'm like, no, I'd rather stay in my place. I'll just be the girl that go to cafe, want to drink one or two. But I wasn't like that. I wasn't like them at all. And I would say this too. I was very, very judgmental. Very judgmental. And I even had one of the sisters that said that, you know, because I was like trying to confide in them, asking after everything then blew up, like, what's the problem? She was like, well, Cieara, you have this way of like being judgmental, like you judge. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you don't necessarily say it, but you show it in your facial expressions. And when I look back at it, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I did. Like, whatever I thought, I may not have said it, but it'll show in my face. Like, anything that I didn't do, I will expect other people not to do as well. And when they did it, or if they thought that whatever I thought wasn't okay, they thought it was, I guess I had a way of letting them know that I not only didn't agree, but they're like ridiculous in my eyes with my facial expression. So that's why I always say, like, guys, it doesn't matter what you say or what you don't say. Your behavior, your body language will tell on you every single time. But anyway, just to rewind back again, she wanted to hang out with them, and I noticed that, and I'm gonna be honest, you know, I was very jealous of that, because I'm like, girl, like, it's me and you, like, you know, why do you want to, you know, hang out with them? But I guess looking back on it, I guess this was, you know, this was supposed to happen. Number one, this was the beginning of the end. This is what you call two people going through their own two different lives, right? Going through two different experiences. If I can remember correctly, I know she was very stressed at home because her dad was very, very strict, and that took a toll on her. So I feel like she was rebelling, and I feel like she just wanted to, I don't know, try something new or whatever, and maybe she was just growing out of our friendship. She probably didn't know that at the time, but her actions was like she wanted to do something else. And me seeing it and seeing the type of people that she would hang out with, I'm like, I didn't want that. I didn't care to be around those type of people. You know, I wanted it to just be like me and her. She would, you know, I guess go off, do things with them. She was now smoking weed. I never ever knew her to smoke weed. Me and her never smoked weed. So keep in mind, we're all like minors. We're all minors. And I'm just like, weed? Like, when did weed get into play? And I'm sure that I mentioned it to her at some point. I'm sure, because with the relationship that we had, it wasn't bad up until that point. It wasn't bad. But what I do remember vividly was that I didn't feel comfortable telling her 100% how I felt. I believe that she would have said that I'm judging. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't want that type of feeling in our relationship. But I do remember that I told her in so many words. Just not like flat out, but I told her. I told her in so many words. I mean, of course it didn't change because, listen, she's her own person. She wanted to be with another crowd. And we were still cool. We were. But we spent less and less time together because whenever she would spend time with them, I, of course, didn't want to go because I didn't care for that particular crowd. And I didn't care for how they moved and the things they partook in. And then especially at this point, I know that she's smoking weed now. So I'm just like, that's not my thing. So as you can see, we have went from being close, thick as thieves, to now we're both getting older. We're both experiencing life. We're both you know, trying out, I guess, different things in our life, trying to figure out where we fit in at. And one person is still on that road, you know what I'm saying? She's her own person that she's growing into, which is me. And she's growing into the woman who she's choosing to be as well on the other end. And it clashed because like I said, I didn't like the things that she was starting to like. I didn't get into the things that she was starting to get into. Here's where I messed up. Instead of coming to her wholeheartedly and saying, listen, Susie, that's the name I'm using. Listen, Susie, this is how I'm feeling about what's going on right now. We've been friends for X amount of time. I just feel like you're changing, you're this. I know that I said that in a certain amount of words, but we never had a sit down like that. You know what I'm saying? Because had we, it probably would have ended a lot differently. What I did wrong, because I didn't feel comfortable telling her 100%, because I didn't, I would confide in, they weren't my friends. I would confide in certain people who I thought was trustworthy, certain people that I thought were my friend. And I never said anything bad, mind you, but I would tell them, you know, I feel like she's changing, and it was me being vulnerable with them. Never do that. Never, ever, ever do that. Okay, especially in high school. Never do that in high school, because by the time it gets back to that person who you were talking about, which was Susie, it's a whole nother tone that has been depicted, translated, flipped up and down. It's a whole nother message. And that's exactly what happened. And then there was something else that happened that I really feel like sent it overboard. Now, I'm not sure when this happened, but I know it was in 11th grade. Susie, there was this guy who went to our school. He looked at like, he was about 19, 20 to be honest with y'all. But long story short, he looked at like a whole adult, if I want to be frank. He looked like an adult. He was disrespectful. He was like corny. He was always looking at us like we're a piece of meat. All the girls, you know, he was just like one of those wannabe thugs in high school. He was one of those guys, put it like this, he was one of those guys you wouldn't want to be caught dead in an alleyway with. You wouldn't want to be alone with him in an alleyway. Somebody's going to end up like hurt, or, you know, the R word, you know what I'm saying? So that's how he was. He was very creepy. But needless to say, me and Susie would like always make fun of him, because we would call him Grossy. We would call him Grossy. We made up that word Grossy. He's Grossy, because that's what he was. This is, I believe, what really made our friendship go sour. Now, mind you, I don't remember the timeline. I don't remember if she started changing after what I'm about to tell you, or if she started changing before, because that much I don't remember. This has been since what, 2011? We're in 2024, so forgive me if my memory isn't that all together. But anyway, we were coming down the hall, me and her were together, and I think that he said something very disrespectful. You know, that much I can remember, was disrespectful. And one thing about Susie, she was a firecracker. Like, you know, she was a firecracker. She was more of a firecracker than me, meaning like she would say something back. She'll go toe to toe with you. When she gets mad, she has a temper. That's what I meant to say. She has a temper. And she said something back to him, like they exchanged words. Long story short, he hit her. Yes, he put his hands on her. Yes,